is another one, man. Like just
Nigga.
Players Club, man.
Take
You
it-
know,
take it out.
with Bernie Mac. Like, was that?
yeah.
Did you have a hand in that?
Hell yeah. I wrote, directed that movie.
I mean, I'm saying, as far as
casting,
specifically
I
picking Bernie.
specifically wrote Dollar Bill for Bernie Mac.
Yeah,
That's
fire.
great.
That's hard.
That's hard, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest of all time right there.
Yeah, Bernie, you know.
Tell him country boy
Me,
nothing.
yeah, like
Nothing.
he done been in a lot of movies, but it's hard for anybody to mess with that Players
That's
Club
defining,
performance.
yeah, for sure.
You know, I just let him get busy.
I was about to say, how much of it did you write, and how much of it did you just say action and then let Bernie do what he
Well,
did?
you know, I wrote. No, I don't start with a whack script.
Right.
The script got to be funny out loud while you reading it before I even start. So if I have a script that's funny out loud while you reading it, I know when I give it to somebody like y'all, you're gonna go. You know, it's solid, it's funny. If you just said it how it is, it'll be funny. But I know when I let dudes add their little flavor to it and stick with the script, but also add those, curveballs in there that it just take it to another level.
Doughboy.
Not that doughboy. There you go.
For all of his hip-hop success, Cube's true introduction to mainstream America came in July 1991, when he starred in the South Central set, Boys in the Hood, a box office hit that helped launch an entire subgenre of gritty inner-city films. John Singleton, fresh out of USC Film School, became the youngest person and first African-American to be nominated for the Best Director Oscar. Cube had just turned 22. The pair met at a rally for Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. Singleton said Boys originally had parts for all the members of NWA, but that only Cube took his offer seriously. Easy, in fact, later disparaged it to spin, saying it reminds me of a Monday after-school special with cussing. Astonishingly, Cube hadn't acted before. I thought at the time actors had to go to school and learn how to become that, Cube said. Singleton was like, yeah, that's true, but some people have what's called it, and I think you got it. Cube's portrayal of the combustible doughboy, brash, loyal to his friends and unconcerned with his future, became a film archetype. When it came time to play Doughboy, he drew as always from the real-life characters he knew growing up, the kids in the neighborhood who weren't going to make it to 25. The only difficult scene was the one where I had to cry. I hadn't cried in 8 or 9 years, he said, but I've had lots of friends that have been killed, so I just thought about them, and the tears came. For many viewers, the film was their first exposure to the horrors of daily life for many in long idealized, sunny Southern California. Along with New Jack City, which was released earlier in 1991 and starred Ice-T as a detective in his first serious role, Boys inspired countless knockoffs, many starring rappers. Despite its clear anti-violence message, the film received a torrent of negative publicity following incidents at early screenings. 24 people were injured, and a man at a midnight Chicago showing was murdered.
I remember when this movie
Many
came
Southern
out,
California
I think I might have been in elementary school, late or freshman in middle school. But I can remember it being on the news about these shootings at the Boys in the Hood screenings. It's crazy.
Theaters pulled the film. I didn't create the conditions under which people shoot each other, responded Singleton angrily at a Los Angeles news conference. This happens because there's a whole generation of people who are disenfranchised. Through gangster rap and films like Boys in the Hood, South Central and Compton were quickly entering the realm of myth, an apocalyptic no man's lands where it was hardly safe to step out your front door. This would be propagated further by films like Menace to Society and groups like Compton's Most Wanted. Such depictions of poverty and chaos remain to a large extent South Los Angeles' main export to this day.
My favorite directors.
Also on Cube's roster was Watts rapper Cam, who combined a street mentality with a Muslim's discipline. He developed an interest in the Nation of Islam through the music of Public Enemy and Trenton, New Jersey group Poor Righteous Teachers. I never heard anybody rap like that, JD said. I stopped eating red meat and pork because of Cam. Lynch Mob member Shorty, meanwhile, was hip to the Nation's teachings when they toured with Public Enemy in 1990. A friend of his brother's found a cardboard box with dozens of Minister Farrakhan VHS tapes, which Shorty proceeded to devour. We would smoke weed and just listen to the minister all day and all night long, he said. Upon joining the Nation, he gave up the herb, though, along with booze and pork, and even his given name, Jerome Washington. He temporarily became Brother Jerome 3X. Black Muslims traditionally take on the X to replace their European slave names, and then later was known as Jerome Muhammad. Cube grew up in the Baptist church, but he took to the Nation's teachings, particularly the idea that it was up to blacks to take back their power and dignity from white suppressors. He was introduced to Farrakhan's teachings.
That's Stanley right there from Friday.
From a Public Enemy affiliate called Drew. One Savior's Day, when Nation members celebrate the birthday of founder Wallace Fard, he flew into Chicago to watch Farrakhan speak, and Farrakhan invited him to dinner afterward at his Hyde Park home, which is called The Palace and is the former residence of deceased Nation of Islam leader Elijah Muhammad. It's not far from the Nation's headquarters called Mosque Mariam, a grand complex topped by the star and crescent symbol, which was purchased in the 80s with a multi-million-dollar loan from Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Cube went back many times, sometimes bringing Shorty. Dining from a spread that might include salad, bean soup, chicken, and beef, no hog, at a large banquet table alongside foreign dignitaries, they received the minister's counsel. He would say that since God gave you the platform to speak, give the knowledge to your people. Wake them up, Shorty said. Farrakhan warned that, though enlightened hip-hop was currently ascendant, the powers that be would try to silence them. They don't want our people to know that we were kings and queens, that all the technology came from us, Shorty remembered him saying. If you rob the people of their culture, religion, and God, you want to keep them as blind as you can. Shorty believes that today's hip-hop climate, all about buffoonery and foolishness, is proof that Farrakhan's fears were realized. Cube began speaking publicly on the Nation's ideals, and on his 22nd birthday in 1991, Cam performed a symbolic baptism of sorts, exorcising Cube of the toxins in his hair, following in the advice of Black Pride advocates like Marcus Garvey. Aided by Nation Captain Shaheed Muhammad, he cut off Cube's jerry curl. Still, you never saw Cube in a bow tie. He never officially joined the Nation, nor did JD or T-Bone. Though Cube still professes love for Islam, me and Allah go back like cronies. I don't gotta be fake 'cause he is my homie, he rapped in 2008. Religion is not his thing. All I know is it's one God, Cube told me. Religion is man-made. It's flawed. I don't follow nobody. I follow my own conscience. Cube's relationship with the Nation was nonetheless mutually beneficial. Spiritually, the Nation of Islam combines traditional Islam with mystical and biblical teachings, along with the ideals of self-reliance and racial separatism. Following Malcolm X's murder in 1965, the organization reached its greatest heights, perhaps 500,000 followers. But after the death of Elijah Muhammad a decade later, the Nation splintered and its popularity waned, only to be revived in the Farrakhan era. The Nation's rebirth was highlighted by Spike Lee's 1992 epic, Malcolm X, and 1995's Farrakhan-led Million Man March in Washington, D.C. That event probably didn't draw 1 million people, but it was the largest ever gathering of African Americans. Bow-tied recruits from coast to coast raised money for the organization through the sale of bean pies. and the Final Call newspaper. Farrakhan's teachings can be homophobic and misogynist, and his anti-Semitism would contribute to his decline in popularity. Such sentiment would also tar the career of rapper Professor Griff, a Farrakhan admirer whose 1989 anti-Jewish remarks, while serving as Public Enemy's Minister of Information, led to his exile from the group. But Farrakhan and the Nation were nonetheless a substantial force for good in Black America, inspiring thousands of men to give up gangs and drugs. Hip-hop was particularly receptive to such Black empowerment messages, with artists including Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, and the Wu-Tang Clan drawn to the teachings of 5% Nation, which celebrates Black self-knowledge and was founded by a former Nation of Islam member. Its name references the small percentage of the population committed to the discipline's teachings. Farrakhan didn't distance himself from hardcore rap music like the majority of other public leaders. Having played violin as a child and later recorded as a calypso singer called The Charmer, he was fond of show business. He's long been drawn to celebrities, developing relationships with everyone from Michael Jackson to Mike Tyson and, more recently, Kanye West. Celebrity affiliation drew attention to the Nation, and the organization often provided security through its paramilitary Fruit of Islam wing to famous Black performers and athletes who couldn't necessarily trust traditional channels. Many celebrities, in turn, were drawn to Nation of Islam minister Khalid Muhammad. He rose to prominence in the 80s and commissioned a multi-million-dollar mosque in South Central. Known for flashy cars and designer suits, he initiated community-building programs and fearlessly recruited from the most dangerous neighborhoods, emphasizing that African Americans had been historically mistreated but were now in control of their own destinies. He became Farrakhan's right-hand man and greatly inspired Public Enemy and Ice Cube. The latter featured him discoursing on his two-part 1991 sophomore solo album, Death Certificate, whose cover has Cube standing next to a corpse with an Uncle Sam tag hanging off the toe. The inset pictures include Cube reading The Final Call with the headline, Unite or Perish, flanked by Fruit of Islam members standing alert to his left, and by lynch mob members in repose to his right. The album's two halves, the death side and the life side, continued this theme of divide, the former a mirror image of where we are today, and the latter a vision of where we need to go.
When that album came out, I remember that album came out. I think I might have
For
been
more
in
of these
sixth grade when
fascinating
the
stories,
album came out, and he had cut his. I was like, wow. I was like, everybody was like, wow, Cube got a bald head. But as you listen to the album, which is a classic to this day, it's real deep. I'm surprised you ain't gotten in any trouble for it. If anybody want to get some real knowledge, listen to Death Certificate. It's a classic album. It's eye-opening. It's the beats are hardcore. Like it's dated. You can tell it's dated, but listen to the lyrics in Death Certificate. If y'all youngins out there want to get some music history, check out it came out 91 or 92, I think. Death Certificate. Check it out. Y'all get a chance. But damn, that was really interesting. I didn't know that Minister Farrakhan is staying in the same house Elijah Muhammad stayed in. That's crazy. So I guess as each leader passes on, they get that house, almost like the White House, you know? I mean, I'm just assuming that's how they code of conduct is within the Black Muslim organization, I'm thinking. But I don't know. What do y'all think about this video, y'all? Leave your comments and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you guys watching. Take care.
Looking for a professional photographer for your next big event? Need video of your special day? Then look no further. For $100 an hour, have a professional photographer or videographer shoot your wedding, birthday party, quinceañera, bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, anniversary party, or whatever your special occasion may be. Highlight your event with professional, crisp photos and video. Check out Charles Arness Photography on Instagram, as well as book us for your next event. Must live in the Southern California area.